Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America in English. Your hosts for today, Ivan Pineda, Christian Rosendo, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Let's start the show.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, special edition, as we're talking all thing Clasico Nacional today. And joining me, as always, are my two co-hosts, everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez, and New York's favorite resident, Christian Rosendo. Sorry for a second. Almost forgot what I was doing.
Yeah, the Clasico nerves got to him. What are you gonna
do? Christian, how are we?
I'm doing fine, Ivan. I hope you're doing well yourself. This should be an interesting podcast, and I'm excited to get started.
Very interesting indeed. Dylan, how are we, my friend, over in Texas?
Everything's going good.
Nice to hear. And well, let me introduce today's guest. As today, we're talking all things Las Águilas del América and Chivas Rayadas de Guadalajara for the Clásico Nacional. The two gentlemen over from the Chivas Norte podcast that always join us. It is none other than Rigo and Vado. Gentlemen, how are we?
Well, I'm a little disappointed that you said that Christian was everyone's favorite New Yorker, because that's definitely not true. It's probably me, and then Varo maybe afterwards, and then maybe Christian after that.
Maybe. All right. Well,
well, we'll have to do a poll.
Yeah, that's the only way to settle
New York. All of New York has to go out and vote.
It has to be like a source that is non-arbitrary and can handle something like this. Maybe, I don't know, the Stray Goat can send this out.
I don't know. I don't already know. I was gonna suggest we could put it on the November ballot, but
there you go.
But good to hear from you. Good to have you on here. Good to have both of you guys on here. We're going to talk everything in regards to this Clásico Nacional. I'm going to preview how both teams are coming into this, and then we'll give our predictions in the end, how we think this game is going to go. But I just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of some time to kind of tell us how Chivas are coming into this game. I know you guys had a game in Necaxa where you guys had that last-minute goal. But talk to us a little bit more about that game and how you guys are coming into this match.
Varo, are you there? I think Varo left me alone. Wow. It's been a season that has been eerily similar to the last couple seasons, with us having to replace the coach a couple weeks into the season. Vucetich took over, I think, maybe 5 weeks ago. You saw a little bit of improvement. I mean, the last 3 games of the last 3 games, we came away with 7 points, which most would say is a good result. That's 7 out of 9 points. But there's still a lot of kinks to work out. I mean, the team could have easily won the game against Querétaro a few weeks last week. Yeah, it was a midweek game. It was Querétaro. I wish Varo was on so he could help me
correct.
fact check me. And then last week on Friday actually against Necaxa, a game that we won and we should have won, but it took us until the 92nd minute to score the go-ahead goal. So the team is still coming together. You're still seeing a lot of struggles putting goals in, and a lot of defensive mistakes that are costing us points, but I think coming in with doble jornada, having secured 9 points, I think it does give the team some confidence heading into a Clásico against América.
All right, then. Interesting. Well, gentlemen, Chivas is not the only team struggling at the moment. América is coming into this Clásico Nacional not in the best of fashion. So we obviously had that terrible draw at home against Toluca, a match that definitely felt like 2 points dropped rather than 1 point gained. Christian, I know you had a lot of things to say about this game, but just kind of give me your quick, brief recap of what happened. What do you think went wrong for América after getting that go-ahead goal? Just everything seemed to die down.
Yeah, it's strange because normally we we kind of hope that after America gets an early goal, we see them kind of just keep pressuring on, being a little bit more aggressive. But in this game, it felt weird. I think after the goal, we just, like you said, kind of died down. We let Luka kind of get back into the match, and the result was that they scored a goal and ended up being the result for the match. I think America is still struggling with this kind of mental issue that they have within the team. Them not playing well and getting results is starting to, I think, just kind of go all over the squad. And I guess no matter what formation or what players you put out there, it kind of seems like the same result for everybody that's on the pitch.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that a lot of us are kind of scratching our head at is, we kind of changed formations. We kind of went with more of an attacking format. I mean, look at it from a different perspective in regards to that 5-3-2. And of course, at the end of the day, didn't pay any dividends. So we'll be interesting to see how America line themselves up against Chivas in this Clásico Nacional. Obviously, both teams not in the best of form. Like I think the gentleman here from the Chivas Norte mentioned, they're still trying to find rhythm. They're still trying to find and gel and come together. And I think that's the same case for America, although America should have a little bit less of an excuse because there hasn't been a roster change or a managerial change in regards to that. I mean, I think that's what we're talking about, Christian, when we're coming into this season preview at the beginning of the season was by the time you end up playing against Chivas, you should already have a set way of playing, a set formation, and kind of a rhythm established. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of fans are going to be a little bit panicked for this Clásico game in regards to what America can produce.
No, definitely, and it's not just a managerial change that's kind of implementing this poor form. I think it's just America just has a history of injuries, and us not having a full squad from day one. It's really, I guess, holding our progress. And you try adding players in, and they're just starting to come back, and and all of that stuff just adds up to, I guess, an unbalanced team. A team that can never find chemistry, a team that never can never find form because you never really have the same starting 11 since, like, I think week 2. And and for right now, you just lost your best defender, so you're trying to cope with that. So it's definitely struggles for America, and definitely in the injury department.
Yeah, but Rigo, tell me more about Chivas. What are you most concerned about coming into this game on Saturday?
What I'm most concerned about is just defensive mistakes. I feel like ever since I made the joke about Dylan and the cowboy hat, like Chivas just has not played well in the Clásicos. And I want to apologize to Dylan here. And I see that he removed the cowboy hat from the background. But no, I mean, like, all jokes aside, like, Chivas they haven't played well last couple seasons versus America in the Clásico, and I think I kind of fear a little bit more of that, of the defensive mistakes. Again, America, like you said, is a team that, in theory, should be playing a lot better. I can't say I've watched a lot of America games, but the team has been together for a while. They have the same players, same coach, very few roster changes or turnover. While Chivas has had a lot of turnover, roster changes, week to week, we're getting roster changes, with players being out on injury or players being suspended for off the field incidents. There hasn't been a set starting 11. I mean, there's a set starting 11, but they haven't all really played together very many games. One of my concerns is with our new coach, who's Victor Manuel Bucetich, or one thing that I dislike is that he comes into these games, afraid to lose versus, wanting to win more. So one of my concerns is that he's going to come into this game and be defensive, and it could pay dividends. He could pretty much say, what, let's give America the ball and let them bring the game to us, and we counterattack them. But that you can only do that for so long, and against a team that has as many weapons as America, it could definitely backfire. So, if I had to have one thing that concerns me heading into the game, is that we come out too defensive, and America gets an early goal and settles, and then we can't come back.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I will say this much: if America ends up getting that early goal, I promise you guys will get your chance to come back in because Christian, I think if we've seen it time and time again, America has yet to know how to manage a lead. Surprisingly enough, we've been able to do it against two opponents in regards to Cholos and Santos, but even then, the second half in those games ended up being a disaster for America. How do you think our Águilas need to come into this one and approach that kind of defensive error mistakes that Chivas is having? And how do we tighten up ourselves in the back, knowing that we share kind of similar weaknesses?
It's hard to answer the question because I think we've kind of given every possible solution besides playing, I guess, two CDMs, which I don't think he's gonna do. But I guess I kind of to what we alluded to last week is I think we're kind of in this state where we're kind of just relying on the team to outscore their opponent every single match, and in some cases it works and some it doesn't. For this game, specifically, I don't think it'll work only because I think Chivas are growing as a team right now. And while the results may not be showing it, if you watch them a little bit here and there, they kind of seem like they're a little bit gelling more and more together. They're just missing that key thing to kind of just score goals and put them in the back end because they are creating chances. Just the lack of goal is what I think is faltering them more than I guess any other thing. But so for us, I think we just need to come out just plain aggressive. Put it on them, and let's see if that can kind of fluster them a little bit.
No, yeah, I think you make a really good point there, Dylan. Do you agree with Christian that it's time for America to come out and really take the game to Chivas and try to get that early goal and just try to dominate in whatever fashion you can?
Yeah, and I think that's just something we've been saying week in and week out too. That's what we want this team to do because you see, I guess when in an extent the players that we got, we feel like we got the players that can do that. But they seem to have done that, especially when you look at this past game with Toluca. Vina scores, and all of a sudden we're giving up the goal, and Toluca ties it 1-1, and then we just kind of lose it after that. So it's just a matter of keeping that aggression and taking the game to Chivas for pretty much a good portion of the game, if not the whole 90 minutes.
It's gonna be interesting. Now, Vado, I know that you guys are having quite the difficult situation down in Chivas in regards to your guys' goalkeeper. Can you guys tell me at least who's gonna start on Saturday? Is it gonna be Toño or is it gonna be Gudiño?
Wait, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's gonna go with Gudiño just because Gudiño's had a good history. I think in Clásicos, he even got a national team call up when he blocked that last minute penalty. I still believe it was all just that, and I think he has to keep instilling confidence in Gudiño now. I think Toño's confidence is shattered. He's probably not gonna come back this season, and Gudiño just has to ride it out with Gudiño.
Interesting. Rigo, how do you feel about your goalkeeper situation? Do you think you guys are gonna be safe in regards to that aspect on Saturday?
I mean, I was never a Toño fan from the beginning. I've never been a Toño fan. I prefer Gudiño. He does make mistakes as well. I think he's definitely more secure in the net than Toño. But it's still worrisome. It's not something that you have confidence in. It's not like you guys. You guys have a guy he's only given up 7 goals like twice in one game, like in a game. But like you guys are still confident in him. There isn't. I don't think anybody that has 100% confidence in either Toño or Gudiño at this point. But we're going to ride out with Gudiño for the rest of the season, I think.
Interesting. Now, I see a window of an opportunity here for America because I think if a goalkeeper position is in doubt and you have two goalkeepers that are making mistakes, I think that's an avenue that America can definitely explore. In a player like Sebastian Cordova, Christian, a player that has the ability to take shots from outside the 18 and drill them in, I think this is going to be an opportunity for him and Richard Sanchez to really test out whoever's in net because I think their judgment is going to be a little cloudy and they're going to have a lot of pressure on them. Yes, granted, there's not going to be any fans, but I think the fact that knowing that it's a Clasico and that the starting position is up for takes, I think it's going to be an interesting avenue that America can explore. I don't know if you agree with that aspect.
No, definitely 100%. But I think also depends on, where you put him on the pitch. Because I think time and time again, we've seen Cordova kind of play on the wing and kind of just, dies off into the match or it doesn't even present himself. So I think if you get him kind of in that cam spot or behind the strikers, I think that's what we're going to do. Considering the case with Vina Viñas. We don't know if he's going to be available or not. But if he's not, and then we do go with kind of like a 4-2-3-1, I think Cordova does start behind Henry Martin. So if that does happen, I can see Cordova kind of shooting from long range a lot.
Interesting. And we'll talk a little bit about predicted lineups. I know that you have ours ready, and we'll ask these gentlemen to give us theirs for Chivas. But where was I going with this? Um, Damn, Christian, your lineup thing kind of messed me up. Where I was going with this,
I'm
but
sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine. That's on me.
I do think that. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for it.
It's your podcast. I apologize. I do think that that if you guys have a guy like Cordova who is going to take those shots from outside the box, that could present trouble for Chivas in that you might get Coutinho to instead of maybe stopping a ball or catching a ball with his hands, maybe he punches it out and it lands in one of your strikers right in front of them, and
Kind of what
then
happened
it's a
last
goal.
game.
Yeah. So that's definitely a possibility that could happen.
Definitely.
So I mean, if I was America or if I was Piojo, and I would definitely tell my guys, hey, take your chances whenever you have from outside the box.
No, definitely. And just kind of to stay on the topic of long shots, you also have a player like you said, Ivan Richard Sanchez, that can do it. Leo Suarez, we know he kind of scored a couple of bangers throughout the season. So there's definitely possibilities to kind of open up a mistake for whichever goalkeeper is in there for Chivas.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be an interesting factor to that's going to play whether or not Piojo explores that avenue. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But let's hope that they are practicing those long range shots and practice throughout this week. But where I was alluding to afterwards, after talking about this, is okay. We've talked a little bit about kind of Chivas' weaknesses coming into this game. We know that defensively they're just as shaky as us. But then of course added on to that is the goalkeeper situation. But I'm curious to hear from both Vado and Rigo. How do you guys feel Chivas can hurt America? Because I feel like the counterattack is something that you guys are going to be looking at.
I agree. I don't know about Varro, but I think that in my mind, I imagine you guys coming out and pressing us high, and I feel like that could lead to an advantage for us because we have a lot of speed with our fullbacks. With Calderon, and a lot of speed with our wingers, Antuna, Vega, even Macias, and that's where I feel like we will be able to have some advantages is with our speed. And if you guys are pressing us high, a long ball through, catch you guys on a counterattack, and it the game could quickly turn in our favor.
Yeah, I that's exactly what I was. That's exactly what I'm fearful to come on Saturday, and that's why I asked because I know we had Chris comment that as well, saying that the counterattack could be an avenue that Chivas can exploit. I mean, George and Emma have looked a little bit shaky whenever they're being run at, so it will be interesting to see how America is able to cope with that. But I don't know, Christian, you think defensively we're going to be able to kind of keep those fast-paced players at bay for Chivas?
It's a toss-up. And I say that only because, well, you kind of have Emmanuel Aguilera, kind of captaining the whole thing, and you know how shaky he can be. Like you said, Jorge Sanchez really hasn't been, Jorge Sanchez this season, so there's that problem. We don't know who's gonna be on the left, whether it be Fuentes or Reyes or Escobosa. I don't think any of three of them kind of fill me with so much confidence. And this is Sebas Cáceres' first Clasico. He has looked good at times, but other times he's been shaky, and other times it's been his fault that a player goes through or a goal gets conceded. So definitely not filled with the most confidence in our defense, but I mean they're gonna have to show up if we want to win on Saturday.
Yeah, and that's going to be the case for I think a lot of America players on Saturday. I think there's only one player or two players actually that you can already say, okay, most likely they will show up if the services are there, and that's Henry and Viñas if they both get to play up top. But everyone else I think is in doubt as to whether or not they're going to show up in this game. So like you mentioned, it's a toss-up in regards to our defense, but hopefully at the end of the day, they know what's being played. It's more than 3 points at the end of the day. So I do hope that they're coming into this with a different mindset and a different attitude than we've seen in the past couple of games because, like you said, Christian, very shaky at the back, and that's not what we want to see coming into this Clasico. But I want to address another comment here. Is saying, do you think that Piojo needs to go back to the 5-3-2 or stay with the 4-2-3-1 for this Clásico, Christian?
For me, I think you've only played the 5-3-2 for what is it, 3 games now, 3-2 games. So I think you just go back to the 4-2-3-1, especially if Viñas is not available. Then I don't see how you can even play the 5-3-2. At least now with the 4-2-3-1, you just have Henry up top by himself, and you kind of just supplying with 3 players behind him. So I think he'll go with the 4-2-3-1.
But the
Interesting.
advantage to the 5-3-2 is, again, because we were saying that Chivas is very strong on the counters and on the wings, is that you have that extra support for the center back, so you can have 3 center backs, closed in together in the box, and you still have the support from two wing backs.
If they drop.
Well, I mean, they're supposed to, right?
They're supposed to, exactly. That's the
Yeah,
key. That's the key right there.
yeah.
Supposed to. More
So
often than not, they don't.
I can definitely see Piojo going with a 5-3-2 to try and at least mitigate the counterattacks from Chivas. Maybe not stop them completely because of the speed, but be able to have more men back there.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was thinking that Piojo will most likely end up using the 5-3-2 come Saturday. I mean, I don't see how, because if you hear what Piojo's been saying throughout the week, and if you see kind of how his kind of mood is coming into this one, I feel like he's a bit timid. I think he knows that he's in the hot seat. And this Clásico Nacional, if it doesn't end up in 3 points, it's gonna be an even hotter seat for him. So he knows that coaches have been fired beforehand for not winning at home. And if you get humiliated, then there's a chance that you might not see, the next game out. I don't know if that's going to be the case for Piojo, but he understands that there's a lot riding in these next couple of weeks, not just this matchup. Of course, let's remember after this, we have Cruz Azul and Pumas. So it's not like the schedule gets any lighter for America. If anything, it gets even more tougher as the weeks go on by. So it's not gonna be easy for Piojo. So I think he's gonna come out this a little defensive, and like we mentioned, that speed that Chivas has going forward, I think he's definitely want to, try to balance it out and have at least 3 center backs to support him in that aspect. But I mean, I don't know, Dylan, what do you think? 5-3-2, or should we go with the 4-2-3-1?
I'm still on this fence about the 5-3-2. To be quite honest with you, I mean, I get the concept. I kind of think you're having those 3 center backs. Kind of like right there in the middle, and like Rigo was saying, you have the support of those wing backs. But like Christian said too, if they ever drop it back, I just don't feel confident really with Reyes or Fuentes. On that left side. I'm still kind of iffy with Jorge, but more confident than Fuentes or Reyes. So I mean, I'm just kind of on the fence right now with everything with these formations. Just kind of starting out with this 4-2-3-1, then you're going to this 5-3-2, which we kind of see what it does. Obviously it's just the start. It's a new formation, but some people were against it, some people were with it. I was just in between. So I can't make up my mind right now with all this.
Well, don't worry, you're not alone in this one. A lot of people are in that same boat with you, but I think a lot will determine in regards to formation what players are available for us on Saturday, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But before we talk about our formation and possible lineup and who is going to be available and who isn't, I want to let the Chivas del Norte people give us their predicted lineup and their starting 11 and their formation that you guys think that Chivas is going to use on Saturday.
Varo, are you there?
Yeah.
You guys did the podcast 2 days ago.
Yeah. So what we said is he's gonna go with Godin at goal. In our defense, we're gonna have Chicote Calderon. Hopefully he doesn't start Ponce because Ponce makes me nervous. Center backs are gonna be Sepulveda and Iramier. Right back is gonna be Chapto because we have no right back depth. Midfield, I think he's gonna throw out Villalpando. I think Beltran is gonna go to the bench, and he's gonna pair him with Molina. And then up top, we're gonna have Antuna on the left, Macias up front, Vega behind him, and Brizuela playing on the right wing.
Interesting. So yeah, like you guys mentioned,
4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I know you guys are mentioning Chivas' like counterattack, but Rigo, honestly, I don't think it hasn't been clicking yet.
It has
the potential is there for it, but yeah, it's always the last pass that Chivas like fails at. because I have like so many gifs on my phone that I haven't released because I don't want to like shit on the Chivas even more. But if they can get that last touch on the counterattack to go, then they're finally gonna be like a lethal team. But right now they're still kind of trying to figure it out.
Okay, that is an interesting lineup. I mean, you guys mentioned it, pace and plenty of it up top with all those players. So yeah, something for America to look out for, and we'll see whether it's that 5-3-2 or that 4-2-3-1. Christian's gonna let us know in just a second. All right, Christian, before I let you give us our predicted lineup and tell us who is available and who isn't, I think it's a perfect segue to remind people that today's episode is brought to you guys by Foot Cult. And as you guys can see, all the Eagle Eye Podcast boys are wearing the official Foot Cult gear here. Christian, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's amazing. We kind of just been advertising it all on social media, and I hope people enjoy it. This partnership has right now been just giving nothing but greatness to everybody. So hopefully it continues.
Definitely. So make sure you guys check them out over on Twitter and Instagram. Check out their website. I mean, if you guys like any of their product, doesn't have to be necessarily the Eagle Eye Podcast. You guys can use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. Alrighty, gentlemen. Let's talk more about this Clasico Nacional. Christian, talk to me more about how America is coming into this game in regards to players. Who's available, who isn't, and what is Piojo's predicted lineup for Saturday looking like?
So we'll get out the people that are not going to be there. Sergio Diaz is 100% not going to be there. Roger Martinez is very doubtful. He came into the game, and then 2 minutes later he got subbed out due to injury. So he's most likely not going to be there. Andres Ibargüen, a name we really haven't mentioned all season long. He's finally, getting there to the point where he's going to be making the bench, and there's reports that he might be there on the bench this weekend to kind of take the spot of Roger Martinez or Sergio Diaz. So we could expect Ibargüen on the bench, and now the player that everyone wants to know about, Viñas. Viñas is the shaky situation. Obviously the player wants to be there. I don't think he's gonna be there. Tomorrow we kind of find out more, and I think tomorrow the choice is being made if he's gonna be there or not. So, but it's not looking good. If anything, I'd probably give it a 20% chance that he will be there. So I'm just kind of ruling him out already in the starting lineup. So talking more about the starting lineup, like I said before, I think Piojo does go with the 4-2-3-1. Having Ochoa in net, the back four, Jorge Sanchez, Sebas Cáceres, Emmanuel Aguilera, Luis Fuentes. The midfielder will be Oso Gonzalez and Richard Sanchez. On one wing, you'll have Leo Suarez. On the other, Benedetti. At the camp spot, Cordova. And up top, Henry Martin.
Interesting. Really interesting. I mean, I can see that lineup happening, of course, because it's a very beautiful lineup. Throwing a big dagger to a lot of Americanistas' hearts with that Viñas prediction there. He might not make it for the Clasico, which I think is a huge blow for America and for the player himself. I think he was actually finally picking up that rhythm again, getting those goals in. And unfortunately, because of that injury against Toluca, it might be that he misses his game out. Probably see him again against Cruz Azul. But this is a player you definitely want in this game because he's a game changer. And you never know when America might need something like that on the field. But if that is the lineup, I'm a little worried about a lot of things. One, Luis Fuentes, he looked terribly slow against Toluca. I mean, completely slow. Looks like
I'm sorry. Yeah, and I was gonna say he'll be on Brizuela's side, which doesn't really paint a good picture.
That doesn't give you a vote of confidence. At that point, you might as well just not even have a left back because Luis Fuentes is completely slow, out of shape, out of rhythm. But I mean, we knew what we were getting when we contracted a player that hasn't been playing since the
Last
end
season.
of the Clausura. Yeah, so it's not looking promising there too. Another player that I do not want to see out on that pitch is also. Hey, we've given him enough chances. He hasn't looked good at all for me. Consistently is giving terrible balls, like simple passes in front of you. He's finding a way to make that a mistake. So is another player that I do not want to see out on that pitch. But I mean, then the question goes: do you give it to Santi? And is he an upgrade? On paper, it looks like he is, but he just hasn't looked like himself. So,
correct.
I mean, I don't know. What do you think about those two kind of weak points in our lineup?
The Fuentes one, I agree with you, but your other alternatives are Luis Reyes or Escobosa, and neither or have showed me anything this season as well. But I think Luis Fuentes is the best bet for America on Saturday. And in regards to also, for me, I think also definitely. I mean, a little bit better than last season, but this season, I mean, like you said, Ivan, he has his games, but recently he hasn't been on. But like you said, though, his replacement would be Santiago Cáceres, and well, I like Cáceres. He really hasn't been showing his full potential, and oftentimes he looks very slow and out of position, and we really can't afford that against Chivas in their midfield. So I think he'll ride it out with also only because I guess he's been getting more match time. So I think we'll see also on Saturday.
We'll have to wait and see. Well, Rigo, it must be music to you guys' ears to know that Venus is probably not going to be stepping on that pitch on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of you guys' better players, and anytime a team is missing, a key element of their offense, it's always good, for us, considering that we struggle, versus teams that are, lesser opponents. So teams that are really good when they're missing a player, it's definitely a boost of confidence. Uh, but like Varro's been saying, the team hasn't really clicked like the way it should be. It should be clicking. So it's like it has to do more, I believe, with us rather than who you guys have on the field and who you guys are missing. Because if Chivas, if the team isn't clicking on Saturday night, you mean it doesn't matter if you guys have beans or not. You guys will probably win. So it's the team's makeup and chemistry is really what's more concerning at this point for Chivas fans.
Yeah, I mean, Rigo, we saw like the potential of that the offense has, especially in that preseason Clasico, that triangle goal that Vega scored. I think it was Angulo to Vega to Macias and back to Vega for a goal.
Yeah,
And like those touches that they made, we haven't seen that all season. Like it's missing, it's not there, but the potential is there, and that's what I'm worried about. Like, and yeah, it's good that Viñas is out, but Chivas has a decent defense. I think they're fourth in the league right now. We've allowed I believe 8 goals, but we're like 12th in offense. If we don't score goals, we're not going to win. And right now, I think the offense is more of a concern for me specifically than the defense and what America can bring.
Interesting, because I mean, like you guys mentioned, we were treated to quite the game for a preseason match not so long ago in the Copa por Mexico, where you guys rightfully so ended up winning that game. But a lot of people are alluding to yet another match like that. I'm not saying it's going to be in the same amount of caliber of goals, but I think we can expect goals. I mean, both defenses are coming into this one shaky. I mean, it's no secret that America's defense is leaking terribly. So I do imagine that you guys might be able to get a goal or two in. But then the same situation goes for America. You were ranked at the second number one offense at the moment, which I think baffles me really.
It does, honestly.
that we have that stat, but I mean,
sucks.
well, yeah. It sucks, but in a good way.
I mean, we love it, but it sucks.
Yeah, it's true. But no, yeah, I think America is going to be able to get some chances. It's how clinical can we be? I think we're looking good. That if Henry is our starting striker, then he's in hot form right now. So you kind of want to keep him in that streak. So it's looking like a pretty good, entertaining game. I don't know. Do you guys see this as open as people are saying it?
I don't know. I feel like we can't really take anything from that preseason game, especially because even when that game ended, I didn't think Chivas was the better team. Like we won, but after the game ended, I was like, oh, well, we got lucky because I think America played better than we did. So I think it's going to be a close game, especially with Vucetich as our coach now. We have to sit back and kind of wait. And the games we've seen, it looks like he's scared to go after the game. He insists on putting in Gallito Vasquez for some reason. Like you're up a man, so you put in Gallito, and basically at this point in his career, now you're 10v10, and then he puts in Oribe Peralta for some reason, and now you're 10v9, and so it doesn't really show. And I don't think it's going to be this high scoring game that people are expecting, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with Varro. I mean, you haven't gotten the same Chivas team twice this season. Every single game has been different, and again, from Luis Fernando Tena to Vucetich, like they're different coaches, uh, but both very afraid to go out and get the victory. They'd rather not lose than go and win. So I got like I said earlier, I can see the team coming out very defensive. You know, just to not embarrass the team and lose. Um, so yeah, I'm with Var. I definitely see a close game.
Interesting. Oh, we'll get you guys' prediction a little bit later on in the show, but interesting. I'm curious to see if you see it the same way, Christian, or do you think it's going to be a fruitful avenue for these kind of both offenses?
No, I see it the exact same way. I think this is probably the more closer Clásicos we had in more recent years. I think, everyone here can agree that maybe in past seasons, America has been, one of the more favorite team, the more dominant team, but this is completely different. I think with the form that both teams are in, this does shape to be one of the more closer ones, but that makes it a little bit more exciting though. So it still should be a great Clásico, no matter what the circumstances is, but definitely a close game.
Interesting that you bring up form, and I think it's a Clásico, and it's the Clásico of all Clásicos. So I think at one point you have to kind of chuck out form and see at the end of the day which player, which institution wants it more. But then I sit here and I look at, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone really. But I don't know. This Clásico has a different feel to it. I don't think you have a lot of America players that have come through the cantera as much as I don't know. What we have probably two that you mentioned in that starting 11, which is Cordoba and Ochoa.
I think so.
So I do think that the players understand what the Clásico means, but I think this is going to be I don't know. It's just gonna be different. I don't know if it's the same intensity as that thrilling 3-3 that we got back in 2005, but it's gonna be interesting. I don't know, Rigo. How do you see this? We spoke about this before on previous episodes. Whenever you guys have come on here to preview the Clásicos, we kind of check out form sometimes because the Clásico is at the end of the day that a Clásico, and it's played with a little bit more than just how recent form you're coming into this one.
Yeah, and I think from that aspect, if I was going to give the upper hand to either of the teams, it would be Chivas, just because they have more canteranos. They're also the underdog. They also, they're coming in as definitely not the favorite. America's won, I think, the last couple of Clásicos, so that they have. They have. I think Chivas has like more to, not more to win, but they might want it more on Sunday. And I'm not saying that just as a Chivas fan. I'm saying it from the perspective of, like you said, you don't have too many canteranos on America. There isn't the crowd in the stadium because of COVID, so it does have a different feel. And in a game where, one team's players like sienten la camiseta más, like they might have a slight. I wouldn't say an advantage, but they might have more hunger for the game. But sometimes, talent beats out hunger. And America, to a certain extent, has a bit more talent than Chivas, especially players with, like they say in Mexico, colmillo. So I could see, the hunger being there, but still not winning because America just has the talent.
Interesting. Well, I hope that talent shows up on Saturday, like you mentioned, because we haven't really seen it much this season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it'd be nice to have a little bit of some of that on Saturday. But Dylan, what's your thoughts in regards to this? Do you think that there's more to this game than just form? Do you think at the end of the day, it's who feels the jersey more and who has that more hunger and passion for this is going to be the one to take it all? Or do you agree a little bit to the extent that Rigo was saying that sometimes just talent outweighs hunger?
No, yeah, I kind of do agree with Rigo to an extent, a little bit more. But at the end of the day, too, I just kind of think it's going to come down to who wants it more. Um, both these teams, both institutions, know what's at stake here. A lot of bragging rights. For the rest of the Guadiana season, a lot of bragging rights, a lot of crap talking. Even though that goes on either way, but both these teams are going to kind of want to come out and win. I can see it staying close to, like Rigo and Christian were saying, and Vado too. But I think it kind of, in a sense, comes down to the wire to who gets that win.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one, and I mean, we'll have you guys up to date with everything that happens in the Clásico Nacional. So you guys make sure don't miss a beat of it over on Twitter. You guys can follow us at EY Podcast. We'll be live tweeting throughout the whole day and throughout the whole match, so you guys don't miss a second of it. I mean, it's just been interesting what we've been talking about, form and weaknesses and capitalizing on each certain weaknesses. I think at the end of the day, a lot of this is just going to be chucked out, and it's going to be a whole different aspect. You mentioned it, Rigo. It's going to be a different game too because of the whole COVID situation, no fans. I do wonder how that's going to play a factor for some of these players,
I mean, I think for you guys, it'll be a little bit of an advantage because it'll finally feel like you're home. Because normally when Chivas plays in Azteca, they're the home team. So I think in that aspect, it'll be a little bit of an advantage for you guys.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say. It looks pretty even. I don't know where you're getting your numbers from, but
Rigo, you know why I really hope we win?
Why?
Because they're recording the All or Nothing series during the season, and that Vega goal is gonna get like a whole 30-second slow motion montage when you score that 90th minute goal. So I want like a slow montage of Chivas.
That's right. We are recording
on Amazon Prime.
Nothing.
Yeah, I need a win. I don't want to relive a loss if I'm gonna watch the Amazon Prime series.
Oh man. Now I really hope America wins. really spoil the Amazon party. But it's going to be an interesting one to see how these kind of players, I guess at the end of the day, have to feed off each other more than some of them would actually feed off the crowd. But they know that they're not going to be alone. In theory, they're going to be watched by millions of people back home. So
forever in our hearts.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys something real quick?
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that picture that the America account tweeted out of the fans like waiting for the players outside the hotel or the airport, whatever it was? I thought it was a bad look.
Was they stealing their wallets?
Yeah.
No. I don't think the players carry their wallets, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I wouldn't either.
No, I think you're right. It wasn't the best of luck, especially in the situation that we're in right now, and especially down in Mexico. I think we're talking about this before we even got on the podcast. Like, we're not really aware of what the situation down in Mexico. It's only hearsay, but we understand that their grip on it hasn't been as well as what we have right now in the States. So for them to come out with that picture, it was a little bit kind of like, maybe we should have thought about that one. But I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it was a cool picture, like, fans and still in our heart and this and that. But yeah, it wasn't the best of PR situations for America. I don't know what you think, Christian.
No, definitely, I agree with you. And I know other teams are doing it as well, but like I feel like, and I don't know, I feel like the clubs kind of just be like that kind of, I guess, role model and kind of just tell their fans like, listen, we know, we acknowledge you guys, we thank you guys for still supporting, but we're still in this awful crisis, and it's just best to kind of refrain from this activity for right now, and then hopefully in the near future when everyone, I guess, coincides with all the rules, we can have fans back for next season. I think that's the goal for everybody.
It definitely should be. I mean, at this point, it definitely should be to have everyone come back to the stadiums as soon as possible. But all right, gentlemen, we've had all this talk in regards to this game. Now I want to hear you guys' predictions for this game on Saturday. So I'll throw it to you first, Vado. What is your prediction for Saturday's game in regards to the Clásico Nacional? Who are you going with?
All right, so I think Guillermo Ochoa is due for another 7-0.
Wow. Okay.
No. I think Chivas 2-1, but That's what my heart says. My brain says Chivas America 1-1.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty then. Well, I'll throw it to you, Christian. Prediction?
All right. I'll kind of give a similar prediction. I think America wins 3-1. That's what my heart wants, but in my mind, I honestly, you guys want to hear it? I think it's gonna say 0-0.
0-0. That is a
Damn.
dull Clasico.
I think 0-0.
Okay. Rigo.
I'm gonna go with Varo. I think 2-1 Chivas. Well, actually, in my heart, it's still 2-1 Chivas, and I think realistically, the game could probably end 2-2.
2-2,
lot of
another
goals.
draw. Okay, Dylan, here, help me out, man. What's going on? What's the scoreline? Give me something different.
Well, I'm trying to give you something different. I mean, I was gonna say,
Say that Chivas wins. Say that Chivas wins.
I was not gonna say Chivas wins.
You can't. You
was
can't.
gonna-
In the country, you automatically gets cut.
Yeah,
I was gonna take Rigo's 2-2, but I don't want to steal that.
Take the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, but Rigo took that from me. But I'll go with 1-1 draw.
A 1-1 draw. Okay, so I'm hearing a lot of in my heart this is gonna happen, but in reality, a draw is what we're basically all saying.
Pretty
at the
much,
end of the
yeah.
day is what's gonna be the outcome of it. Which I mean, here's my question for Chivas: is that a favorable result?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
ideally, yeah, it's favorable result. As a fan, you always want to win, especially Clásicos.
Yeah.
You always want to win.
Yeah.
Statistically, yeah, I mean, you're it's an away game. You come away with 1 point. So yeah, if you're just going on statistics, yes. If you're going with my heart, then I want a victory.
Okay, interesting. Because I know for a fact, if America ends up getting a draw against Chivas, it might just be the end of the world, Christian, in regards to a lot of what's going on in America. Because I think it's another 2 points dropped at home, in a game that, in theory, that some people are saying you're coming in as favorites, you should be walking away with all 3 points. So, I mean, thoughts in regards to what kind of the vibe of the Coapa is going to be after if America ends up getting a draw?
Well, definitely not good. Just for numerous reasons, like the ones you just said. You know, the kind of, I guess, coach situation is a little tense over there. But also, you got to remember we have Cruz Azul next week after this one. So, like, you know, you want to come in, you know, with the most confidence ever. And for me, you're playing probably the best team in the league next week. So, you know, you're gonna want to come in at least with the victory. So, you know, it's not going to be good if we don't come up with anything but a win.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens, because I think might just be the start of the revolution. So we'll have to wait and see if America doesn't pick up all 3 points. But don't worry, if you're not, I'm going to go with a 1-0 victory for America. I think that we just nick it in like the 68th minute, and then we just completely, I think we throw like 7 people in the back and just completely just let Chivas try to come at us, and hopefully we are able to clear everything. But I think America ends up winning it 1-0. I do think it's going to be quite an interesting and exciting game. We will have chances. I see both goalkeepers, you know, getting their work cut out, and you know, I think at the end of the day, it is going to be whose goalkeeper is in better form that game. That's going to be ultimately the determining factor as to who ends up winning this game. So we'll have to wait and see, but I'm predicting 1-0. I see that Chicken Little was very adventurous and missing a little bit of that AJ spirit on the podcast, going with America 10-0. So we'll see, Chicken Little. We'll see.
Nice.
That would be nice. I don't think that's ever been even recorded in history. And then Freddie going with a 2-1 victory for America. He's saying late goal from Benedetti.
That's what I like to hear.
A little bit more of a late drama right there. Let us know. Keep commenting in the comment section, letting us know your guys' prediction for the game. But I mean, that pretty much wraps it up. Unless you guys want to say anything else in regards to this Clásico Nacional.
No, I mean, I heard through the grapevine you guys are doing FIFA Pro Clubs Clásico Nacional.
Yes,
word
that's
is
what
out.
I was alluding. I was leading to that right now. I was
Oh,
going to
the
let you
word is
guys say
out.
what you wanted out, but word's out right now. Might as well address it. Yeah, this is not going to be the last time that these two podcasts get together for this week. You guys going to be able to catch a little friendly. Well, we'll see how friendly it ends up being. Pro clubs match between the Eagle Eye Podcast and the Chivas del Norte. So make sure you guys follow both accounts on Twitter, so you guys know exactly when that's going down. We will tell you this much: it's happening on Friday, and it's happening at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. So make sure you guys catch it, and we'll let you guys know we're going to be streaming and all that stuff.
Is it true that you're doing a pro clubs this time because you're tired of losing on the one-on-ones?
Oh shoot!
You know what?
The hot seat.
Oh no,
The hot seat.
somebody finally did.
Here we go.
I'll say this much: I cannot confirm nor deny that, but I felt that it was a little bit more proper that we did this.
I get it. I get it.
Also too, because technically,
Get
well, I mean,
everybody
with the whole
involved.
COVID situation, no,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the pressure's really been on me. I think I've been asked to resign. I think 6 different times already. So, it gets to you at certain points. Lost sleep. It's terrible. Some of my hair's falling out. It's bad. But if there was FIFA 21, maybe we could have done one. That way we would have had, the updated rosters, updated kits and stuff like that. But since, we're still waiting for that to launch in the next couple of weeks, I thought, why don't we do a FIFA Pro Clubs match? And the really cool thing is that we're going to have some of you guys, some of the listeners join in on that as well. So we're making that team, and let us know if you guys are interested. But yes, Rigo, we're going to have that matchup. And we discussed about this. Usually the winner of that game, the loser team ends up winning the real matchup. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be who can score more own goals throughout that whole match to secure the victory on Saturday. So we'll have to wait and see.
Good times.
Yeah. Good time. So you guys don't want to miss that out. We're going to give you guys more info tomorrow. You guys can be able to have more information as to where it's streaming and all that stuff. But yeah, really fun stuff happening. And it's always fun whenever it's the Clasico. We get to do a lot of cool things. So, Vado, anything else you want to say before we wrap this all up?
No, just look out for the Pro Clubs games. Ivan, I also like Pro Clubs because it hides my weakness as a FIFA player. So,
you can point fingers at others too. Now,
I'm a great CDM. I am not a great all around FIFA player.
It's gonna be fun. Alrighty then. Well, we just want to say thank you, gentlemen, as always, for coming on, and keep up the great work that you guys are doing, and hopefully, best of luck for you guys in the Pro Clubs and in the match on Saturday. So we're excited to see what happens.
Good luck to you guys as well, and thank you for having us, as always.
It's always a great time. Always fun. All right, Dylan, Christian, thank you so much for coming out. AJ, shout out to you. We know you're listening. We know you're watching. Thank you for everything. And thank you to all of you guys who came out today and watched and just commented everything. Chicken Little, Freddie, Jess, Reyes, Adrian, Luis, everyone, really, thank you so much. And everyone listening on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever it is that you may listen to this, thank you so much for your support. And again, thank you to our partners, Footcall, for making this a possibility as well. All right, gentlemen, you guys have yourself a wonderful night. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Well, actually Friday for that Pro Clubs match, but Saturday for the matchup. And make sure you guys are all staying safe, wear your masks, and take care. As always, Arriba la America. Good night, everyone.
All right,
Later.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.